Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Resale Market. Thank you for joining us on episode 272 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor. What's up?
Hey, how's it going today?
It's going.
Yeah.
I have to tell. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I assume you're busy right now.
I'm always busy. Yeah, no, but I mean, you're right. As everybody knows, I think I'm going on a cruise in a week here. And as I'm sure people know, there's also a hurricane developing currently.
Yeah.
Although it's going to be way past there by the time we go on the cruise. So we should be fine. It actually might impact us more on the drive down to Florida than it would for the actual cruise, because it's coming through my area right as we would be leaving.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, but, it's also still early, right? It's an, entire 5 days away, and these things change all the time. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I had to tell my other story, because I put this in the Discord and I put it nowhere else. And I feel like I need to talk about it. I still need some catharsis on this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So early in the week, midweek, I guess, right? I had some time. It's free time. I head off of work and I to get some other stuff done, and the other stuff I needed to get done didn't take the whole day. So I was like, you know what? My daughter's at daycare, my wife's at work. Why don't I go and see Deadpool and Wolverine? Right?
We talked about this last weekend.
Yeah,
you said that was your plan. So
yeah,
did
so
happen.
So that's, well, first of all, it's weird because I'm looking around at like different show times and such, right? And I think I talked about this before. We have like what we call the nice movie theater, which is like 25 minutes away, but you can like reserve your seats and it has recliners and all that. And then there's the not so nice one that's right down the road from me. That's also way cheaper. Right. So it was the middle of a day on a Wednesday. So like the ticket was $7 to go to the cheap one, which is nothing.
I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. Well, but then, the other theater, it was like they had IMAX, right? So I could go see it in IMAX, but it was like $27. And I'm like, do I want to spend $7 or $27? So I decided to spend the $7, which in hindsight was kind of a mistake. And I'll say why in a moment. So I'm watching the movie, and this is an extraordinarily light spoiler. Okay. So it's not going to ruin anything in the story from what I'm about to say. But if you're a spoiler verse, skip by here. It's like I said, it's not really spoiling anything. So I'm watching the movie, a couple hours in, not a couple hours, right? It's only 2.5 hours. So an hour and a half in, maybe, right? Yeah. Something like that. Hour and 15. I don't know exactly how long. And there's a part in the movie where Deadpool and Wolverine are jumping through a portal, like the Doctor Strange
Multiverse.
sparkly. Yeah. So they're jumping through a portal, right? So, there's a lot of build up to this moment, right? There's, the music is getting, there's no dialogue, right? There's music. It's getting really intense, and they're running to jump into this portal. There's a lot of slow-mo going on, right? And as they jump into the portal and they're going towards the portal, the screen just goes black. And so just completely black. And so everyone sits in the theater for about a minute or so, but only because it was Deadpool, right? So
because you expect like some fourth wall thing or something, right? Yeah.
I was expecting to hear like Deadpool start talking on a blank screen, like they portaled to nothingness or something, And I think that's how everybody in the theater was like, is this a bit? Like, what's going on here? Because it's Deadpool, right? It's like anything could happen, right? And sure enough, after about like a minute, the crowd, and when I say the crowd, there was like maybe 6 or 7 other people in the theater other than me. I mean, again, this is a random Wednesday afternoon, right? So people start talking and checking their phones, and eventually somebody comes in and goes, "Hey, the power went out." But it was just funny because any other, first of all, any other movie you would just assume the power went out. But also any other scene in the movie where there's just dialogue going on or there's a fight going on, like any of that, we would have known immediately that the power went out. But because it was this really intense moment when
perfectly timed moment. Yeah.
I cannot describe to you how perfectly timed it was, because they were literally in the air jumping towards the portal. They were going to be in the portal within a half a second, and that's when it went black. So the worst part about this, though, and people on Discord were like, well, what did the theater give you? Well, they didn't give me anything, because the theater obviously panicked and had no idea what to do with themselves after this. They were not in any way prepared for this. And, it was Wednesday. It's not like they probably didn't even have a manager there, right? So they were just like, oh, well, just come back and, show us your ticket and say you were here during the power outage and we'll let you in again. And I'm like, feels flimsy.
Yeah, like, I would get like a voucher or something. Yeah, they should be able to hand out like free movie vouchers or something to that effect.
You'd think so, but again, at the same time, I was like, it was $7. Like, so dejected. And here's the thing: I have no time to see movies, like, ever, right? Like, I never get to go to a movie by myself, let alone a Marvel movie, let alone a rated R movie. Like, if I'm going to do a movie, it's going to be either with my wife, and she's not interested in this at all, or with my daughter, and for obvious reasons, my daughter cannot go. So, like, I'm not going to get to see the rest of this movie until it comes out on streaming.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess this is going to be a watching it, after your daughter goes to bed on Disney Plus thing now.
That's going to be what it has to be. It just stinks, man. Like, I try to go and do something, and then this is what I get.
And the worst part too is that because of where the movie stopped for you,
yeah,
it was in a transition, so you have like no idea.
No,
or like in your head, you're like thinking about how the story could have played out, but by the time you actually watch it, it's not going to be whatever you had in your head.
It's funny you say that, because I was talking to my brother-in-law about it, and he obviously saw the whole thing like a normal person, and and I mentioned something. I was like, oh, it'd be cool to see where this goes, and he's like, yeah, you didn't see the rest of the movie. It's like, okay, so obviously what I expect to happen is not what's going to happen. So yeah, I mean, that was just, I just thought it was, I took it more as funny than anything, because like I said, I never see movies. And of course this would happen when I went to go see a movie, the one time I have time available. And then also the fact that I didn't choose the nice if I had just chosen the nice theater, I would have seen the whole movie.
It would have been fine. Yeah. And
yeah,
it's funny. Like, yeah, circumstance and all that is like, I think we've all had moments like that where it's like, oh, I'm going to do something, and, the universe just says, no, you're not.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not allowed to have fun.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, it was fine. I'm also not like, it's probably blasphemy, but I don't do popcorn at the movie theater. I'm just not a popcorn person. My wife is like, she'll eat a ton of popcorn. My daughter will eat a ton of. I'm not into popcorn.
I'm not a movie theater popcorn person. I will make popcorn at home because I make it the way that I like it.
That's true.
Which is not loaded down with like movie popcorn's way too salty. It's my thing, because like you can't just buy a bucket of popcorn and like they kind of force you into, you're going to buy a drink and something sweet to get rid of the salty, because if you don't, you're going to be dehydrated 20 minutes into the movie. So
that's why I'm a candy at the movie theater guy, right? So like I'm I do snow caps, which I don't eat on a general basis, but I love those things. I wish I probably should eat them more because I love them so much. But it's like, that's like a movie thing, or like the cookie dough bites, or like, Bunch of Crunch or something like that. It's all the stuff that you like usually don't get in the regular, in your regular course of your week. But when you go to the movie theater, it's like, oh, some Bunch of Crunch. That sounds kind of good.
Yeah. My family, we were, and actually I realized this is why I even eat Twizzlers, is because, strawberry Twizzlers, right?
Yeah.
Because when we were kids, we would go to the drive-in, and my parents would buy a bag of Twizzlers, and we would eat the whole bag before the first, like, because we would always go. It would be a double
feature.
movie.
It's always double feature at drive-ins.
Yeah. So we would always we would have like the whole bag of Twizzlers done before the first movie was done.
That's amazing.
But but the funny thing is, outside that, like, I have no desire to like eat licorice any other time. But when I'm at a movie, it's like, oh I could eat a bag of licorice.
Man, I miss drive-ins, man. Those were like, I used to love because they used to be everywhere. And when I was a kid, we used to go to drive-ins all the time. And there was just something about like sitting in the trunk of your parents' SUV and just eating candy and sitting on a blanket and watching a movie on a gigantic screen. I mean, it was just a whole different experience. We have one that reopened around here, and then like the last time a bad storm came through, it like destroyed the screens, and so now they're closed again. So like, but I would love to go to a drive-in. It's been so long.
Yeah, we had one, and it was actually it was right next to an oil refinery.
Oh, fun.
And the oil refinery lit up one day.
Oh,
and
boy.
Took the drive-in theater with it.
Jeez.
But supposedly we have one there. There's one in a small town, like an hour away from me now. So I could go to a drive-in. And actually, it's funny. It's funny that we're talking about this because I was trying to explain to my son about drive-in theaters, like exactly what you're talking about. The sitting in the back of the car, just watching movies until like 1 a.m. because
so 1 a.m. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you had to wait for it to get dark, and there was always a double feature.
But by the time it was done, you weren't coming home until after midnight. But you're right. I do miss that. Like, the whole. Maybe this is something that they need to really have or whoever they is. I don't like the movie industry. Yeah, people in general is we need to get back to that kind of stuff because it was just nice. Like it wasn't. You didn't need like I know you're talking about going to the movie theater with like the fancy recliners and everything. It's like, maybe I just want to sit in my car and watch a movie. I'm with you. Like that's really all I want, right? Like it's like, I mean, I do like the recliner and everything because it's comfortable, and I also I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I like not having to like rush to the theater to make sure I get a decent seat. Like to know that I have a good seat ahead before I even get there, like makes me feel better, and like also I could just show up like at the previews and be fine. Yes. Yeah. Reserve seating is huge. I agree. I don't like guessing on where my seat's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I actually, I went to a science museum yesterday. I took my daughter to a science museum, and they had an IMAX dome screen there, which they do a planetarium show on. And so we went and did that. And it's been so long since I've been in an IMAX theater. But it was really cool. I forgot how cool. Like I love planetariums. I'm a huge nerd with these kinds of things. And actually, funny enough, part of the reason I'm mentioning this is because it was live narrated, and the guy that was doing it was obviously both a huge nerd and a Marvel fan because they were talking about one of the moons of whichever planet has the moon Titan, and he was like, if there's any Marvel fans out there, this is the home of Thanos. It's Jupiter. It's Jupiter or Saturn. I forget which one, but yeah, it's. But that was funny. It kind of just brought up a Marvel thing randomly within my planetarium thing.
I got it wrong. Dang.
See, I thought it might be Saturn. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Saturn's got way more moons than Jupiter, but I know between the two of them, the amount of moons they have is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, sorry, off topic, but yeah. So that was my my Deadpool and Wolverine experience. Unfortunately, I did not get to finish it, but I mean, the hope will be that I get to watch it at some point. But I enjoyed it up until then. Until that time, it was fun. It was very different. so it was funny and really enjoyable. So,
well, speaking of things that you're planning to do, hopefully let's talk about your trip because you alluded to that earlier. Yeah. Hopefully this doesn't. Or that Deadpool's not a prelude to how your trip's gonna go. I say that only because I've been there with the hurricane too, like where you're like watching it and going, so I get the the stress of it, right? Like, I know it's not going to hit you while you're on the trip, but yeah, it could definitely throw a monkey wrench into your plans for sure, right?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, it shouldn't though, right? Like as of right now, it shouldn't. But it's tropical storm Debbie. It's still tropical storm, although they're saying it will turn into a hurricane in the next
Debbie.
like 20. Yeah, pretty soon here. Yeah, I saw somebody post
Little
like
Debbie.
a tone chart with the little Debbie's logo on it. Like I was like, okay, that's pretty funny. But yeah, so like it's not really going to hamper my cruise, right? Because I'm not leaving until Friday to drive down to Florida, and then the cruise doesn't leave till Saturday. So I should be in good shape. My only problem is that this hurricane is now projected at like 8 a.m. Friday to basically be at my house. But again, though, it's like, it's everybody knows these little cone things, right? Like it is a wide swath of area that it's covering right now because they really don't know where it's going to go. So a lot can change in 5 days. I mean, a lot can change in 24 hours, right? So,
yeah.
My hope is, and then I'm just looking, I just pulled up the National Hurricane Service here too, and I'm just looking, or the center, and now I'm looking, and they have another one that's looks like it's forming out in the Atlantic. So hopefully that one is not a problem. Doesn't actually become a storm, or it stays away from the area that I'm going to be in. But I'll be leaving on Saturday on a 6-night cruise, 6-day cruise. On the Royal Caribbean Adventure is the ship. Bit of an older ship, but it'll be, it's fine. We kind of scheduled this last minute. Like we've gotten really bad about scheduling vacations like far ahead of time. And we just kind of got used to like I could book something through DVC like a couple months out. Usually, like I could usually get what I wanted, which was typically Animal Kingdom like 4 or 5 months out. Not the case with cruises. Like you got to really do it pretty far ahead of time, which I was I just didn't really know.
Yeah, I thought that, or my understanding was anytime a cruise was coming about, you're always like a year out planning for it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's exactly. I wish we would have done that earlier, but whatever. So I'll be on Royal Caribbean. I'm interested to see how it's going to go. I've talked about before, I'm not going to be with my daughter. My daughter is going to be staying with my mom. This is the longest I've ever been away from my daughter before, which is going to be interesting. I think it'll be okay. She's a lot older now, so it's a little bit different, but it's just going to be interesting to see how that goes. I'm sure it'll be fine. My daughter will enjoy spending a week with my mom while she, showers her with cookies and candy and ice cream. And, when I come back, she's going to weigh 10 extra pounds from all the treats my mom's giving her.
Or she'll say, "Who are you?" And go, "No, I don't want to go back with you. It's more fun here."
Yeah. So my daughter actually likes my mom's house better than she likes our house. And so when she comes back here,
that's every kid, everyone else's house is better than your own house.
No, what I mean is she likes the decor better. So she comes back here and she criticizes. She's like, "Dad, why are our walls so boring?" She's like, "At Grandma's house, they're painted fun colors. Ours are beige." Like, what? Okay, sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I don't do design work. But
the answer is, are you going to paint the walls? Because I'm not.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what I should say. Right. But yeah, so that's what's going on there. I'm going to we have a couple different stops. We were supposed to be stopping in Haiti, but if you've been following the news, Haiti's not a place you want to go right now. So they've got some, things going on in Haiti. So they actually moved us to a different place, which we're going to Grand Turk and also to Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic, which we've been to the Dominican before, so that's not necessarily new for us. We haven't been to this port, obviously, but that's going to be something different. And then we're going to be going to the private island for Royal Caribbean. So, and I think I talked about this too. Like I've been a little, I don't want to say annoyed, more like surprised, I guess, of like how like they charge for like literally everything. Like there's no, like barely anything is included with the price that you pay for your cruise. which
okay.
annoys me.
So, so because I'm never going to get on a cruise, and I don't understand, like, is this so this is Royal Caribbean that you're on?
Yeah.
Is that, or is Disney the exception to that, or is it the same thing on Disney where they charge for all the extra stuff as well? Like, I just don't.
I think Disney charges for some extras, but not nearly as much as like Royal Caribbean does. Like, so like if I want to drink soda on board, I can either pay for each individual soda, or I can buy the drink package. I don't think that's the case with Disney, right? Like even at our sit down dinners at night, like you can't have a soda if you want one unless you have the drink package or are willing to pay for it. And like that is not great. And then it's, I mean, which listen, it's fine, but like obviously it's a lot cheaper than the Disney cruise. So like I don't know how you do that math, like because I'm sure there's the a trade-off there. It's like, okay, well, Disney, you're really getting pretty much everything included, but it's a lot more expensive. Whereas, you're paying less for the Royal Caribbean, but they're going to get you with little fees here and there,
Right. Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know. That's what it kind of feels like is what they're doing. But like, even on their private island, I think I talked about this, like, they have this whole water park, and it's like, you got to pay to go to the water park. It's like, you just have this whole water park on your private island and I'm not allowed to use it, like, unless I pay. It wasn't even cheap. Like it was like a Disney ticket for a day. Like it was expensive.
Like $60 for today.
It's like it was like $100.
Oh, that's even worse, because I believe Disney parks are like the water parks are like $60 a day.
Yeah, it was pricey. I was a bit surprised at how pricey it was. Not that, and I don't even really like water parks that much, so of course I'm not gonna do it, right? Like,
yeah.
But we did decide to we're doing like an adult private beach on the private island. So that'll be nice because we do, this is an adult trip. This is a time for my wife and I to get away for a little bit. We haven't been on a vacation by ourselves in like 10 years. So, I know Damon has a different opinion on this, and I like going on vacation with my daughter, and we've gone on a lot of vacations with my daughter already. It's just, I think it's also good to, for her and for us to get away for a little bit. So
I 100% agree with you, because my wife and I have done that too. Although we've not done or the trips we've taken is like, we drive like an hour away and stay so we're still like close, but yeah, we've done that where, we take 2 or 3 days where it's just, just the two of us. And, I agree with you that, it's good to have time for the both of you without your kids, because not every vacation can be about your kids. Like, I don't think that's healthy, because that when you eventually get to a point where you are going to be traveling without your kids, like I kind of look at my parents as an example of that, where they were, we always went on vacation, whatever. But then when we got to the point where we were grown, there was a bit of a struggle that my parents had with, particularly with my mom, because she was like, oh, none of you are coming with us. And it's like, no. We're
adults now.
we're doing our own thing. And it was a bit of an issue. Right. So,
and listen,
so I get it. It makes sense, right?
Yeah, and listen, I respect Damon's opinion on this, right? Like, I'm not trying to say he's wrong. Like, I just have a different view on it, right? Like,
you're right. This is not a right or wrong thing. It's just everyone has their own point of view on it.
Yeah, I mean, I just know for me, like, especially my daughter's, I mean, she's very attached to us, right? So it's good for her to spend a week without us and get kind of some, and she's not getting time by herself. Obviously, she's going to be with my mother and my sister, actually. So they're going to be spending all that time together anyway. So it's good for everyone involved. Of course, the grandparents always want time, with the kids. So there's that too. I mean, I appreciate it. It's a win for everybody, I think. So yeah, personally, that's what I think. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I don't think I've talked about this on the show, Trevor, right? That I've been, for the past year and a half now, I have been going back to school, right? I've been in college. I've been doing my master's degree, and I don't think I've talked about this on the show. And listen,
I don't think we've actually directly. We've talked about it in the Discord, I think.
We do. Yeah. I don't think I've actually mentioned on the regular show. So, and because listen, I'm not trying to like be private about my life, but it's like, it's something I've been doing for a year and a half. I'm, obviously not super young anymore. And so I was, with a lot of younger people that were much younger than me, which is fine. It's just something I really wanted to do. And I just finished that. So, and that's, I don't want to say that I've been a little more distracted from the podcast the past year and a half, but I have. I mean, I've had other priorities and it's been busy.
Focus, right? Yeah. We knew that, like that. Yeah, this is the things we all understood that, we were going to be balancing life with this, right? So yeah,
it's a challenge, right? And anybody that's gotten a master's degree like knows that it can be like an all encompassing thing. It's a lot of work, especially when you have a regular job, that you're going to every day. And then, because basically what I was doing for the past year and a half, like every day, I would go to work, I would deal with my wife and daughter in the afternoon, and then evening, spend time with them. Both of them would go to bed, and then I would do schoolwork for a couple hours. So I've been basically sleep deprived for a year and a half now. But now it's all over, right? So part of why we're going on this cruise is to celebrate that. The hard work is done, and it was also recently my anniversary, a week ago. So with my wife, so it's we're celebrating various things on this trip, and that's part of why we decided to do this, and honestly. And this is no offense to Disney. We love taking our Disney vacations, but we've taken a lot of Disney vacations over the past 10 years. And so we kind of, I don't want to say we wanted to take a break because we went in May. So, but we just wanted to do something different,
Yeah. It's good to get some outside perspective because as much as, we all do a lot of Disney trips, it's good to, see what's better and what's worse, right? Because it's not always, it's not that Disney is the best place to go all the time. And, even like Damon's done the same thing too. He's gone to different places because you can't just go to Disney all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we settled too in the Discord. I think we're going to do Tom's Tangents. Is that what we're doing here? If I travel anywhere else, I think that's,
I was still voting for Tom's Tours.
I like it too.
I feel that is a better, because detours and tours, right?
Detours and tours. Yeah, I like the tangents though, because it's like I'm going on a I don't know. Either way, I'm good with either one. It's funny though, Trevor, as I was talking about this, I just decided to pull up the Royal Caribbean website for that water park for the day is $112.99 per guest.
Oh,
Listen, I don't care how nice the water. I'm looking at it. It doesn't look like it's worth $112 a day to me.
Yeah, like what about it? Like, are they like? Is it gold plated or what?
14 slides across 2 towers. That's and the largest wave pool in the Caribbean. Okay. Cool.
I'll go to Typhoon Lagoon. Thanks.
This is what I'm saying, man. Like you could go to Typhoon Lagoon for that price, and it's.
I think Typhoon Lagoon's cheaper.
Yeah, and I have to pay to get to the island, and then I have to pay again to go to this water park. Like, why am I gonna? I'm not gonna do that. Like, maybe if I had my daughter with me, and like we were going to, I don't know, we were gonna do like she was into like. Water parks, then okay, maybe we would do it, but it's just a lot. I'm not into it. So
okay, so looking at it, sorry, I guess I for some reason I know why I thought the tickets were cheaper is that years ago that I got a promo on the tickets where they were like it was like $60 for the tickets, but it's like $109 to go to Typhoon Lagoon, but still it's still cheaper than what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, and so on top of it, and by the way, so some cruise people might be like, okay, well, are you doing any excursions or anything like that? We are not. In fact, my wife and I have said this vacation is about us spending time together. So we might not even get off the ship at some of these ports. And if we do, we're probably not going to wander around too long. Like we just kind of want to spend time together. We don't feel like we need to go and do, and like I said, we've been to the Dominican Republic before. We've done a bunch of the excursions already that we would do. Like, Jeremy posted in the group, he was on the same ship as I'm going to be on, and he did this monkey experience, like where there's monkeys crawling all over you. I already did that, so I don't need to do that again. Like I don't need a monkey going to the bathroom on my shoulder again. Like that was fun, but not again.
Well, this is exactly the thing too, is that it is your vacation at the end of the day, and if you want to spend your vacation on the boat doing nothing, that's okay.
Dude, I cannot tell you how much nothing I want to do.
Do all the nothing.
I want to do all the nothing. Yeah. That's what it is. I just want to disconnect and just hang, I want to look out at the ocean. We got a balcony room. I said to my wife, like, I wouldn't mind some days just getting room service for breakfast and just chilling on the balcony and looking at the ocean.
Yes.
Like, that's fine totally fine with me.
I support your decision, Tom.
But
I know it doesn't matter, but
but so many people are like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. And I'm like, we'll do some of that, but like, I don't feel like I need to go and do every excursion. I don't feel like I need to explore the port that I'm at. It's not. There's a swimming pigs tour on the private island. That sounds fun, but I'm not doing it. So
you're already on a boat. They're taking you places anyway. You don't have to get off and go do anything.
I want to eat. I want to swim in the pool. I want to, maybe gamble a little bit. And and that's about it. Like, I don't even drink. So like, I'm not there for the drinks, right? Like
that's even easier.
Yeah. It's super easy. I mean, I might partake a little bit, but I typically don't. So listen, I'm excited to do this, especially since I will be doing the Disney cruise in May next year. So like, I can really have, an interesting frame of reference to compare the two,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
I think that'll, that's good. Take notes. And then when you're on the Disney cruise, you can be like, this is better, or this is
exactly.
I can't imagine that it would, I guess I shouldn't assume that, a Royal Caribbean cruise is worse than a Disney cruise, but it sounds like just from the upcharge point of view alone, I feel like when you get on a Disney cruise, you're going to be like, oh, this is just nicer, right?
Well, and that's like the impression I've gotten from everybody is that, like, listen, the Royal Caribbean cruise is not bad, and they're getting closer to what Disney offers, but Disney's still the best out there, right? Like, so as far as like service goes and the way that they do things, and I mean, even my parents who basically only go on Royal Caribbean, talk about how good Disney's cruises are, right? So, I don't know. We'll see. I will say the only two things I'm paying for are the private adult beach when we're on the private island. And this is another thing, Trevor, right? So like we can have dinner included every night if we want to, and we just go to the regular place that you eat the regular sit down dining, but they also have premium restaurants you can pay more for. So I decided to do that for one of the nights, to go to an Italian restaurant that they have on board because I like Italian and I just sounded like a good idea. So, yeah.
And like you said, it's, I guess the thing about the upcharges is that you can really decide what it is you actually want to pay for, right? Like it's,
exactly.
If there are premium things you want to do, you can just pay for those things and not be charged overall more for the cruise. So I guess that's a benefit technically.
There's an argument to be made there, right? So because it's like, okay, well, you do Disney and pretty much everything's included, but you're not. Maybe there's some things included that you don't want to do, right? Like you're not interested in. And in this case, I'm doing everything a la carte, right?
Yeah.
Although I was going to do a couples massage, but that ended up being like $400, and I was like, absolutely not.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. As much as I like a massage, I don't $400 like a massage. That's a bit excessive. So anyway, so that's what my trip's going to be. I'm hoping we don't get interrupted by any tropical disturbances. So keep your fingers crossed. Yeah, let's hope not. It's gonna be an interesting trip. I'm excited for it. It's a well-needed vacation. So, all right. Good. Yeah. So that's all I got.
So that's all you got for your cruise, but you've kind of made this the cruise episode because
to be fair, Disney made it the cruise episode.
Well, fair. So we have some cruise news and okay. So the Disney Destiny, let's start there.
This is the heroes and villains ship that we talked about before. Yeah.
And so they've announced there's actually there's like six different things on here.
Well, listen, they announced a lot. They did a whole drop of stuff. I'm almost wondering if it was because D23 is coming up and they were like, we don't have time for cruise stuff. Let's just drop all the cruise stuff ahead of time,
Yeah, could be. But yeah, so they have the I did see they previewed the Black Panther statue in the main hall on the cool. Destiny, which it looks really, really cool. I mean,
I definitely have to be like a Marvel fan to go on this cruise, I feel like, but
true. Yeah. I mean, this is, like we were talking about, this cruise ship is definitely focused at a certain demographic within Disney because the heroes and villains thing, they are, so this is the big offering of it. I do see on here there is some there's a Lion King inspired dining experience that's coming, which also looks nice.
Yeah.
And they're doing, it says guest favorite experiences returning. So it sounds like they're taking some things from other ships, like the water coaster and stuff is going to be on this ship. So it's not that they're doing a new experience. They're basically just, it's not fair to say they're I guess they are copying it, but they're it's going to be on more than
their
one
own
ship.
thing. Yeah, they're copying their own thing. Yeah,
yeah, which is not a bad thing because it means that you don't, if you want to do a particular thing, you're not beholden to being on just the one ship. So there's a lot sorry, I know I'm just kind of lightly touching on this stuff, but I mean, I don't know how far we want to get into this because we could spend another hour.
I mean, well, first of all, the Lion King themed dinner event seems really cool, right? I'm actually kind of surprised it took them this long to do that. Although, does that really fit into the heroes and villains theme? I don't know.
Does it need to?
I mean, yeah, if you're going to do a hero and villain ship, then yeah, I feel like you do, but maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, Lion King is still heroes and villains. I mean, there is
still
hero and a villain in Lion
Simba
King
versus Scar. Okay, yeah, fine.
Yeah.
But I'm also looking at the back of the ship here. First of all, they're going to have a lounge inspired by Doctor Strange, so they're going to have like a sanctum thing, which they didn't show any pictures of, but I think could be extraordinarily cool. But also the back of the ship, the stern, they always have these characters on the back, and this one's going to have Spider-Man on it, shooting a web at one of the little spidery bot things. And I think it looks really cool. It's interesting they're leaning into that one too. But then they're also going to have, besides the Spider-Man stuff, they're going to have a Tony Stark, Iron Man kind of inspired suite, which is cool. And then they're going to have a bunch of different, this says Worlds of Marvel and Marvel Superhero Academy. They're also going to have this Marvel themed dining experience, which is also going to be on my ship. So I'm going to actually get to do that. And I'll tell you how that one's going to be. But yeah, and then the Lion King dinner thing. I mean, I'm just also thinking of it looks like they're theming it almost to like the Broadway show, right? And it's, I mean, or you could say why am I blanking on the name of the Animal Kingdom show? Festival of the Lion King. Yeah. So I mean, listen, and then I'm assuming this is going to be kind of like African-ish food. I mean, that'll be cool too for people that are into, trying some different things.
Boma type stuff, I'm guessing. Yeah. Yeah,
probably. Yeah. So that's really cool too. There were some other interesting things in here though that I saw, and
actually, one of the lounges is standing out to me as a very interesting choice. I
know which one you're going to say.
DeVille.
Yeah.
So 101 Dalmatians themed piano lounge, which it's an adult exclusive lounge, which looks very nice.
Yeah, and I mean, I also feel like using Cruella DeVille for a piano bar just feels like it makes sense to me. Like it's
totally
like that kind of. She's got that kind of vibe, Yeah, I mean, I will say this looks like it looks cool, but it also looks very dark, right? Like everything's like black and.
It's black and white would be.
Yeah, black and white. Yeah,
but the fact that the entire roof is painted black, you're right. It makes it feel very closed in, I guess, is the way I feel about it.
I do say though, I like I said, I will say that it's I think it's a good idea. I think it's a great idea, actually. I think that, really, Cruella de Vil lends herself to a piano bar. It just, that feels right,
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of a cool idea that they're doing there. I knew you were going to mention that though too. That's funny because I mean it's cool.
And I mean, I think we both know that, what we're always looking for them to like get away from the typical cliche stuff that Disney loves getting locked into, like, oh, it's all about Marvel or all about, whatever the, like, Frozen, whatever the latest thing is. Yeah. And it's kind of cool to bring back, like, definitely 101 Dalmatians has had some resurgences and stuff with, like, they did the live action Cruella de Vil movie and all that.
It was well received. I mean, it
was good for sure. But it's nice that they're touching on some of that and kind of like digging back into the archives of stuff that they have instead of just continuing to play on the surface, so to speak, like the easy stuff. Because I can't think of anywhere else that where else do you have a 101 Dalmatians experience like that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you can't, right? I mean, or the Doctor Strange thing, or I mean, that's what Disney's selling on these cruises, right? Is like, you can't do this anywhere else. You can't even do it in our parks. This is a one of a kind thing that you can only do on this boat.
That may explain why they took the Doctor Strange meet and greet out of California Adventure.
I thought that was due to a labor dispute, but I could be wrong.
Well, but they've also, to be fair, they also do cycle through different characters in that area. Like, now, Deadpool and Wolverine are in that character, or in that area. So, yeah, I've
enjoyed watching the videos of like Deadpool crashing some of the other shows. Like, I really like what they've been doing with Deadpool and Disneyland, because they, like, they have the, like, that Guardians of the Galaxy dance off thing, and like he's been crashing that, and like, just showing up in a bunch of the other shows that they do. Like, it's just pretty funny that they're really embracing this and like letting him like break their show standards a little bit,
Yeah. It's, I mean, they need to, they need to start getting outside of the box that they put themselves in. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So the other thing I want to mention too, we can get off the Destiny for now. I'm sure we'll hear more about that soon, but I wanted to talk about, so on the ship that I'm going on, the Treasure. So they're going to have the first ability to use the magic bands. They're not calling it magic bands, but they're calling it Disney Band Plus. So why they're not calling it magic bands, I don't know.
Stop renaming everything.
I don't understand why they just call it Magic Band.
Yeah,
call it Magic Band. Like, because it even says if you have an existing Magic Band Plus, you can have it programmed to be used on the ship. Like, so, I mean, why?
I wonder if this is an indication of Magic Band getting an overall rename, because
maybe.
Yeah, because I guess, to be fair, Magic Band, although we know it is synonymous with Disney for us. I can see where the term Magic Band is probably harder to, I don't know, maybe there's something with copyright or whatever, but if it's a Disney band, you can't argue that it's like, there's no dispute of, well, that could be an aftermarket or whatever. It's no, this is a Disney band. Right?
Yeah, that's an interesting point, Trevor. I hadn't thought about it that way. Like, listen, there's probably a good reason why they're doing it, right? Like,
I just hate renaming everything all the time. Like,
I know. Listen, I'm sure the cast members hate it too, because like it makes things more confusing. It's like, it's the same thing. It's a thing you wear on your wrist that you use to get into your room and pay for things, and
which I'm surprised that the cruise ships have not adopted this sooner.
I'm actually surprised by this too, Trevor. I'm surprised it's taken this long,
because it honestly seems like the same way that in the parks, like I'm sure you and I are the same way that when you use your Magic Band, it's like I have it set up for like everything when I'm at the parks, because because it is convenient. Like they are meant to be convenient, and it is meant to be like, oh, I don't need to worry about my park tickets, I don't need to worry about my room key, I can pay for stuff on it. I can do my fast passes. Like, why would you not have that on the cruise ships? Because then it's like, it's the same thing. It's like, I'm getting ready to go out and do stuff for the day, or I'm just around the ship and, you know, I can get in it, or, you know, my kids can get in and out of my room freely with their magic bands. And, you know, same thing is like, you know, getting into certain experiences and stuff is that, why are you not tying it all in?
I agree. So yeah, no, this is great that they're doing this. I'm happy that I will get to, you know, use my Magic Band. It says only Magic Band Plus, so I'm almost wondering if I won't be able to use my regular Magic Band. Like I'll have to get a Magic Band Plus because I don't have a Magic Band Plus. I only have the original.
Yeah, so. Which I feel. I wonder if they're going to make a hard cut on, because they can do that technically. Yeah. Because the Magic Band Pluses, even though they are underneath using the same RFID technology and everything, they could say, you know, based on the series, because they do track the series of them, that, you know, maybe they don't want the older ones. Maybe there is something with the way that they're doing this that they don't want to, or, you know, maybe retrofitting it for the older ones may have been an extra step for them.
Maybe.
Right. So
maybe. Listen, if they want to just move forward with it, that's fine. I mean, like we'll see what happens.
Or maybe it's the funny thing is it may still be like a, you know, add it to, or I guess do they have an app separate for the cruise ships than My Disney Experience?
Yeah.
Okay.
They do. They have a separate app.
So that's probably what it is that you probably just need to tie it to that app, and then that's probably what it is that they don't want to exist between both systems, if I had to guess. So
yeah, that would make sense.
Which again, the funny thing is they could just tie it all together if they really wanted to. And I'm saying this as an IT guy, knowing in the back of my mind that yes, that would be like a year-long project to do. It's not quick and easy. Like don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, like, you know, oh, these things are just a matter of somebody needs to, like, you know, put two plugs together and it works.
Yeah. It's like when in one of those movies where they have like the hacker character and he's like, get us in, and he's like tap, I'm in. Like, you know, like that's not how things work. Okay.
the worst. Sorry, we're gonna go on a tangent here about, because this gets me when I see that as an IT guy. The worst one was there was a show, I can't remember what it was, like one of those like CSI Miami or something like that, where one of the characters is typing on the keyboard and then somebody gets on the other side of the same keyboard and they're both typing on the same keyboard as if that's speeding up the ability to hack whatever this thing was. And it was so bad. Like
that's terrible. That's awful.
I could find the clip, I'm sure other people have seen the clip, but it's, yeah.
It feels like it should be a meme.
It is. It is at this point, but the IT stuff, like, or the hacker stuff, just gets me.
Yeah, sorry, that was a random aside, but it's true.
I know, but yeah, you know, just type a bunch of stuff and it'll work. But no, I get why they're doing this stuff with the Magic Band. That, you know, it's, you know, there's obviously some back end stuff. It's not a matter of, you know, well, why can't I just use it on the ship? Because obviously the ship is not wired to use My Disney Experience everywhere. So
yeah, exactly. So why don't we go ahead and do our ad, and then we can talk about some other stuff.
All right. This week our sponsor is DVC Resale Market. DVC Resale Market is a World of DVC company and is the leader in the DVC resale industry, with 13 former Disney Vacation Club guides and 3 former Disney Vacation Club quality assurance managers. If you're thinking of buying DVC, browse the largest selection of DVC resale listings anywhere, with DVC experts on hand 7 days a week to answer your questions. If you're thinking of selling, turn to the friendly professionals at DVC Resale Market, where over 98% of listings sell within 30 days. In 2023, DVC Resale Market helped over 4,400 families join or add on to their memberships. Go to dvcresalemarket.com/welcome home or call 1-844-DVC-PROS, that's 382-7767. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you.
All right. Thanks, Trevor. So D23 is coming up. We're almost here. It's happening the August 9th through 11th. And I'm going to miss all of the news, but Trevor will be around with all the news. And hopefully there's some good conversation around it. But
I will be around. The hard part for me is I know this stuff will be streaming somewhere. The question is whether or not it'll be somewhere that I can access it easily.
You probably can. I've streamed it like every year the past couple of years.
Yeah, but I've had things get region locked on me.
Oh, okay. I mean, usually they stream it on YouTube. I feel like I think I've watched it on YouTube, but yeah, I could see that being a problem.
I in the past I've tried to watch these things and it's been like, this is not available in your region. So, that said, though, definitely even if I'm not able to watch it live, I am sure that there's going to be lots of places picking up the news and it's not like I'm not going to be able to find out what's going on quickly. I just may not be able to do it as it's being announced in that moment.
Yeah, so that's fair. But before we talk about, like, I would like for us to recklessly speculate before what they're going to announce and I already did a little bit of this, but let's put in our official picks. But before that, they actually released some merch that they're going to be releasing on Shop Disney. I'm sorry, it's not Shop Disney anymore. It's Disney Store and also at D23. And I put this on here because there's a couple pretty cool things. The first one I'm really jumping to is this Haunted Mansion stuff, where they have a cool Haunted Mansion shirt, which they're not even talking about in here, but it's more about this Raven shoulder plush that you can, so you've seen like the Banshees you can put on your shoulder.
Friends.
Yeah, they've got like the red eye raven that you can put on your shoulder, and it looks like it maybe does stuff. I don't know. They don't really say in this, but it looks like maybe it like the other ones make sounds and stuff like that. I'm betting this makes sounds or flaps its wings or its eyes blink or something.
Yeah. I mean that it's going to be popular. I can tell you that much. Like anytime anything Haunted Mansion, especially something like that comes up, it's going to be in high demand.
100%.
And as I was saying that, sorry, I was scrolling through this article, and I got to the bottom, and the Ichabod and Mr. Toad Loungefly bag. Wow.
Oh yeah.
That is awesome. Like,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
I love that. I mainly like, I feel again, talking about them not digging into old stuff like this is specifically like a throwback to the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, like movie, or it's a movie, or it was a combination of like 3 or 4 different animated shows within it, but like that looks really good. Like that's I keep saying this is I wish that it's great that they did a Loungefly of it, but why is there not more merch like that? Like, there's the ears and there's the Loungefly, but more, please.
I want more of these things.
More like that, please.
Yeah. My eye was on the limited edition Star Speeder 3000. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. So it's a Star Tours vehicle replica, which you can open the top of it. It has a little screen, a real working screen in the front that actually has the original attraction footage, as well as Captain Rex, and they talk and it makes the sounds. The little doors even open. I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the Disney monorail I have where you can open the doors and stuff, but this is like even more. This is even a cooler thing.
It is a very cool collectible, right? Like that's something that you would definitely have sitting on your mantle and play with it from time to time.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And it actually, and I have another article about this that has more details, but it's complete with 2 3.75 inch scaled figures of R2D2 and RX-24. And then the vehicle can actually fit 25 figures inside. They actually have little seatbelts in there, so you can put characters in there if you want to. And then it also the doors open and it plays the chime, the little chime that the Star Tours does. Yeah. And a light up display stand, as well as light up features for the headlights, thrusters, cannons on the exterior, and the front of the speeder has a 4.75 inch LCD screen that can be activated by buttons to play authentic footage from the first ride, the original ride, and with Captain Rex narrating. Now, all that being said, It's $300.
Yep. I was going to say this is going to be expensive.
Yeah, it's a little pricey, and it looks like there's only going to be 3,000 of them, so it's
oh, wow.
pretty limited. Although it says the 3,000 will be available when it first releases at D23 and then online. So maybe there's 3,000 only originally available at D23, and then there'll be more on Disney Store. I don't know, but they did say limited.
So what that's telling me is that I'm going to see video footage of a lineup for these things.
Oh yeah, 100%
at D23. Because they will definitely disappear at D23.
Oh, 100%. Like that's going to be a huge one. I feel like I know a lot of people are nostalgic for that ride, and I mean, not that I'm not. I do like Star Tours a lot, but
yeah, and the original. I like the fact that it's the original footage and that they're using Rex with it's not. And don't get me wrong, C-3PO being the pilot is cool and all. But Rex definitely has a level of nostalgia to him. Also being that, like, I mean, back at the time it was released, like, I didn't immediately realize it, but the voice of Rex is Paul Rubens, who also does Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
And, it was at that time where Pee Wee was like
at
really hype. It was big and all that. And then to get on the ride and have him have that same kind of vibe to him was like, it was the classic ride. Definitely, I wish that there was a way they could redo it, but I also know obviously they can't now because, unfortunately Paul Rubens passed away, but
well, with AI, man, they can clone anybody's voice as long as the families are okay with it.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know how I feel about it either. But no, it's interesting too. Is the original the when it first opened, they actually had like movie projectors projecting those images on the screen, which at the time movie projectors were extraordinarily fragile. And so like you have this thing bouncing around, pulling some G's, and they had to like design a whole new projector just to be able to withstand the forces of the Star Tours vehicle. Obviously now they don't have a movie projector, we have better technology now, but I just think that's amazing. Like if you look at it, it's like they came up with this idea. They always talk about this in the Imagineering documentaries you watch. It's always like great idea, but if they say yes, now you got to figure out how to do it. They came up with Star Tours and they're like, oh, we actually need to figure out how to have a movie on a moving platform. Nobody's ever done that before, and so we have to design a whole new thing. I'm always amazed by the original Star Tours. It's funny that so many of us ignore it today because when it first opened, it was the first of its kind. It was revolutionary, and it spawned a whole bunch more simulator rides all over the world.
I mean, definitely. Like I took my son on it. Like that was one of the first rides I did with him when he was very young, and so he kind of got that same like. The whole ride, like the queue, everything is definitely an experience. And like you said, it's fair that we kind of take it for granted that it's like, it's Star Tours. I'm not doing that. But there is definitely something to it that it does deserve to be revisited. Maybe it's not your first go-to every time you go to the park, but you should get on it from time to time because it's still a good ride.
No, I agree. I think it's still a great ride, and they still update it so frequently now. Like if they don't let it sit there stale, that's probably one of the most updated rides at Disney. Like they're always adding new scenes and like
the function of it is that it is actually one of the most flexible rides to update, which is kind of odd that that ride of all rides ended up in that state. But yeah,
exactly. So. Yeah. All right, so that's all I see on that. I don't know if there's any other one you want to mention on the merge.
So I do want to mention it, just a bit of an oddity, but also kind of cool is that they have the cake topper and cake servers from Up. So so for Disney, people do definitely like Disney stuff in their weddings. And it's kind of cool that they're acknowledging that. And Carl and Ellie from Up is definitely, it's very cute. Obviously, if you watch more than the first 5 minutes of Up, it's also, very tragic too.
Yes,
so
course, yes.
I don't know how much I would necessarily want that as my cake topper, but yeah.
I can tell you right now, without even talking to my wife about this, that if this was available when we got married, this would have been on the top of our cake.
And fair.
Sure.
I think we would have considered it too, for sure.
Yeah.
Like it's
Even these little the cutting utensils too. They have like a knife for cutting a cake, and like a cake server too. So like, that probably would have made its way in as well. So yeah, no, my wife always my wife really loves their relationship and Up and everything. So like, that's definitely something that she would hang on to. So yeah.
All right. So you wanted to do some reckless speculation about D23 on top of all this. Okay.
Let's go park to park. Let's go park to park.
Park to park. Okay. All right. Let's start with the big one then, Magic Kingdom. I mean, I think this is going to be the Beyond Big Thunder announcement. Like I can't see how it wouldn't be. As for what that's going to actually mean, this is the hard part for me, is that I keep looking at Big Thunder or like that whole area. It's like Frontierland / Adventureland, and I keep expecting that anything beyond Big Thunder to be a continuation of that, which in my head is like, well, that could be more Western themed something, but then it's like, okay, what, right?
Yeah. What is that?
So going back to or we were actually having a discussion about this on the Discord. Sorry. It was a while. It was a couple of weeks back, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who we were talking about with, but there was some discussion of a rumored Moana attraction, like a roller.
I had said a couple of weeks ago that I thought they were going to do a Moana boat ride, but then in the Discord they were saying a Moana roller coaster or something.
Yeah. So I feel that is a potential thing that could be put back there, because again, for the continuity of Adventureland and all that, like I could see that ending up like it would, sightlines and everything wise, it feels like it could make sense that it's like, oh, there's Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and then beyond that is like another like Polynesian type mountain, I guess, is like if it was a roller coaster. I'm leaning towards the roller coaster because of the fact that yes, they are looking at a boat ride. I don't think the boat ride would end up like it wouldn't make sense to have two boat rides next to one another, right? Like because it would be Tiana's and then a Moana thing side by side. That to me feels weird.
But it's also like, how do you do anything besides a boat ride for Moana, right? Like,
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like Moana, pretty much the whole movie takes place on a boat,
Well, but I mean, with the sequel coming out, that it might be something geared towards that, which may not be as heavily focused on the boat.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see if that comes to fruition, because we've heard of it. There's been a Moana attraction rumored in that park now for 5 years. I feel like there was a rumor that they were going to build a Moana themed hotel right on the edge of the park too. If you remember that, we talked about that before, which could happen. We have no idea. I mean, they could announce that. I don't know, but
that would be weird if Beyond Big Thunder was a hotel.
Well, no, I don't think it's Beyond. I think it's separate from Beyond Big Thunder. But
okay.
But no, I agree with you. I think we're going to get a lot of clarity on what Beyond Big Thunder is going to be. I think we're also going to find out what the fate of Tom Sawyer Island is and the Rivers of America. I still don't really know what they're planning to do there. Part of me, like ever since you mentioned this to me, Trevor, about them potentially like rerouting Big Thunder Mountain to make room for people to walk past so they could keep it, I can't get that out of my head. Like I feel like they would do that they would try to basically push Big Thunder, back somehow. And, maybe, or to the side and give it more room so they could both keep the river and also Tom Sawyer Island and make a big enough walkway to the new land. I don't know. I feel like they will try very hard to keep Tom Sawyer Island and the river there.
Yeah, and
I just do.
And I guess so. It's not moving like it's not moving the entire coaster, but like you could potentially. There's enough space on the one side that you could cut it back and still have the ride be functional, but then have space for getting to a whole other land without. And do you really think that they could take out Rivers of America? I feel like it.
I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like you can't. Rivers of America is just so embedded in the parks. Like it's
hard. It's going to be hard, man.
Because the thing is that if you take that out, like if you take out Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer's Island, that is so much space.
Yeah, what do you turn that into? Just a big concrete walkway? Like,
yeah, exactly. What are you doing with it? And this is the thing: is people don't realize that, like, if you actually look at the satellite view of Tom Sawyer's Island, less than half of it is actually usable as a guest area.
Yeah.
Like there is a whole backside to the island that nobody there's nothing back there, or I shouldn't say nothing. I mean, there's nothing that we see back there. We don't know. They may use it for storage or something. And I know you say, but you got to take a boat over there. I don't know if I've ever explored if there's a utilidor that goes to Tom Sawyer's Island.
I actually don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
So again, there's a potential there that it's used for storage or something that we don't know about. But again, the point is fine. You take out Rivers of America for the sake of this, expanding past Big Thunder. It's not like you're just cutting out that part of the river. It's that you're demolishing that entire ride. You're taking out all of Tom Sawyer Island. And then, and I mean, that gives you like an amount of space equivalent to Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
But then what are you doing with it? Like you're not building another Galaxy's Edge there. Like I don't see them doing that specifically with Magic Kingdom. Like I feel like Magic Kingdom is a little too well established at this point for them to do such a big upheaval. And that's why I feel like Beyond Big Thunder is exactly that they're going to cut out a path going to the other side of the train or behind the train, and then they're going to expand beyond the train, right?
That could be the route that they go. There is like some green space in between Big Thunder and backstage areas, right? Like it's Big Thunder, the train, and then there's some space there. Not a lot, but I mean, I also don't understand why they don't go like the drawbridge route. Right? Like, I mean, they could put a couple drawbridges in that, get you from to Tom Sawyer Island and then over to that new piece of land. Like, and then the Liberty Bell could still go through, like.
Yeah, but then you're having, the thing is the rate at which the Liberty Bell goes through, the drawbridge would be up and down every like 5 minutes kind of thing.
Yeah, it would be a lot. Yeah. And then if it broke, then
that cuts off a whole route for people.
Yeah. Exactly. So, I mean, listen, I don't know what they're going to do. I agree with you, though. I don't think that they can get rid of Rivers of America. I just don't think they can do it. I would be shocked if they did. And I just imagine Josh Giamaro standing up there and be like, "Hey, we've got this new land coming, but also we're getting rid of Tom Sawyer Island and the Rivers of America." Like,
we're training the Rivers of America as we speak.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, that thing you remember from when you were like, 5, it's gone. Like we're getting rid of it. And I mean, listen, they're typically not. I feel like they're way more protective over the things in Magic Kingdom than they are elsewhere. Like they'll tear apart classic rides in all the other parks, but I feel like they care more for Magic Kingdom because it's the oldest. And, it's the flagship and all that.
Yeah, to a certain degree, like definitely, there's been things like the redo of Fantasyland and all that, where it's not that they're shy to redo sections, but I feel specifically that area, just the sheer size of it, the intent behind it has to be very clear. Like to say, well, we're just going to replace this with another attraction. you're not like you're like that space is like you're doing a whole other land, but then what are you shoving in between Liberty Square, Frontierland, Adventureland? Like what makes sense there? Because like again, like you said, the thing about Magic Kingdom is that it does have, even if we don't agree with every new ride that's gone in there, the theming is still cohesive.
Yes.
So if you suddenly like threw in like, people have talked about Villains Land and everything too, is it's like, if you threw a Villains Land in the middle of all of these things, how does that make sense? How do you convince yourself that like it's not like it's put behind or like there's a connector to it? It would literally be dropped right in the middle of 3 different lands, effectively.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I don't think they'll put a land. The lands are supposed to go behind all this, right? Like so the rumor for the Villains Land was that it was going to go behind like where Haunted Mansion is, right? Like that area.
Yeah.
And then maybe connect into Haunted Mansion, like that area. But I mean, to your point though, it's a huge space. It's probably not enough for a land, but they could probably put some sort of flat ride there. But who really wants a flat ride there instead of natural water? And I don't know.
Yeah. Again, it's yeah. So okay. So
yeah. So let's keep moving here. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's talk about Epcot for a minute.
Really quick. I got one more prediction for Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
I think Reflections is happening again. I think it's happening. I'm convinced it's happening. Whether it's going to be Reflections is going to be the same concept art, I don't know, but I think it's going to. I think they're revitalizing the project. I think it's going to be done in 2027.
That's based on the patents and the rumors that are forming
the permits.
That, right?
Yeah, the permits. The permits that have been going on. The fact that they're citing the same construction company that they were before. The fact that they're all of a sudden a month or two before D23 revitalizing these permits. I don't know, man. I'm just saying, Reflections is happening. I'm going to throw it out there. I don't know if it's going to be Reflections, if it's going to be the same concept, or if they're going to do something different. I think it's going to be Reflections still. That's just my feeling. So anyway, okay. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Yeah, I was trying to think if there's another, like, what would they call instead of Reflections? But yeah, let's put that on the side burner.
Yeah.
Okay. So Epcot, so Epcot's had a lot of work done to it lately, and we know that we still know there's or the Play Pavilion's still kind of up in the air.
I mean, I feel like it's canceled at this point, right? Like they haven't said anything about it in 2 years.
Yeah, but again, that's a potential. There's that space is still there. Is the thing?
Yeah, it is.
At the end of the day, that entire space is still there. It may not be the Play Pavilion anymore, but I could see them announcing something with that. And what do you suppose the chances are that they have any appetite to touch Spaceship Earth right now? I feel like
they should have an appetite for it.
Yeah, it's due, but then for all the construction, everything going on at Epcot, if they suddenly shut down Spaceship Earth again, or this is going to be renovated for the next 2 years or whatever.
I don't think they shut down Spaceship Earth for renovation until Test Track is back, right? Like
so then that's not on the slate for D23.
They might announce that they're going to do it. You know what I mean? Like they might say, hey, we're going to do this starting in the end of 2025 or something, right? Like they announced it at a previous D23 that they were going to redo all this, right? But like you said, Spaceship Earth needs it. It's in dire need of a redo. Like and so was Test Track. And I think we're definitely going to hear more about the Test Track concept, right? Like I think we're going to learn a lot more about what's happening with Test Track. For sure.
That's true. And yeah, I'm hopeful that maybe, I mean, they never announced a date on when Test Track is coming back, have they?
No. But I mean, they're doing a lot of work to it. I've seen a lot of videos and pictures, because you can get a good look at the construction from the monorail when you come in. And they're working fast. I mean, they're tearing that thing apart real fast.
So there's hope I might be able to see it next May.
I mean, I don't know, maybe, possibly, but okay. The other one I've got, Trevor, is it's Figment. They're going to do. I'm going to say right now, I think they're going to redo Figment. I think it's going to happen.
You think this is going to be the time they announce?
This is it.
Figment?
This is it, man. They're going to do it. Figment's going to have a redo. I saw a lot of people talking about it being themed to Inside Out. I think we even talked about this years ago, saying that they could do Inside Out in there and also still include Figment, right? Because Figment is the figment of your imagination. So you could make it so that, you're inside Riley's head, and
he exists in the same space as Bing Bong. Which
he's a new emotion, or not really emotion, but he's a new thing
he's part of the brain and all that stuff. Yeah,
exactly. Like they could make that work. They really could. And I listen, Inside Out 2 has now become the highest grossing animated feature of all time. They're going to do something with it. They don't. Now
that as I'm starting to think about it, I'm not opposed to the idea of, instead of, because the problem with the current Figment is that it's shoehorned into the zany scientist universe that Disney used to have with Flubber and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and all that. So it feels very weird at the moment. But if they took it and if Figment was interacting with the emotions from Inside Out, like that's actually a very cool idea.
Yeah. I think it could be fun. I think it could be fun if they did it. Like, and there's a way to do it.
Yeah. And that is actually a win-win, because you still get, or Figment still exists as an attraction in the parks.
Yeah.
But then you're also bringing an Inside Out attraction, which this is the sum of both parts being greater than themselves. Really? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could see some Figment purists being concerned about, Figment can carry his own ride. We don't need all these other characters. But, I believe to me, bringing Inside Out into the parks is actually kind of bringing some more of the edutainment back to Epcot, because Inside Out, as entertaining as it is, also presents some incredibly complicated concepts about how our memories work and how our personalities are built. And it's almost it's based in actual
science behind, emotions and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, they used to have in the Wonders of Life Pavilion, they had that, oh gosh, I forget what that show was with Buzzy. But I mean, they did this kind of stuff. No, it wasn't Body Wars. It was basically like Inside Out, like where he was, but it was, a little bit different. But, the idea here being if they're going to be teaching people about how memories work and how your brain works and how, your personality is formed, that's the kind of old school Epcot stuff that a lot of people want, right? Like some people want to go back to that edutainment, and they've been doing a little bit more of that with the Moana thing. They've been sprinkling that in a little bit more. And honestly, I think Inside Out fits into that, believe it or not, because if you've seen the movie, like I said, they do an incredible job of presenting extraordinarily complex concepts in easy to understand ways that, give you a lot of I just, even seeing the last movie, I don't know if you saw Inside Out 2, Trevor, but
not yet. No,
I watched it
for it on streaming.
Yeah, I watched it and I was like, wow, this actually gave me some realizations about the way that I react to things as a person, and that's kind of amazing that not a cartoon. I don't want to make it sound like it's diminish
animated
it.
Feature,
an animated feature, yes, can do that. So,
but yeah, I mean, the first one did that too, talking about memory storage and all that. It's
core memories become a thing. Like people say core memory, right? Like that's a thing.
Well, and even the thing for as silly as it is, the whole part about when they're going through the memory banks and they're talking to the two workers and they keep taking the stupid jingle and firing it back up to the memory, and anger keeps why does this keep coming back? Right. Stuff like that. Your brain loves to pull back, songs and, common things, right? That you don't realize how much it's all tied together like that. And like you said, I agree that, that Inside Out in Epcot actually does make a lot of sense. And it doesn't hurt Figment. That's the weird thing, is that, it would not take away from Figment as an attraction, because his interaction with it is imagination is entirely a concept of, your mind and all that.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm assuming they've thought of this and that will be the case. So, well, I mean, we'll see. I do also tend to believe, I'm of the belief that they are going to announce a drone show of some sort. I don't know where that drone show is going to take place. Epcot feels like a good bet to me, but okay. I don't know where. I mean, I could also see Hollywood Studios. I feel like maybe Magic Kingdom, but they're not getting rid of Happily Ever After. So to me, it would be an accompaniment to Happily Ever After, as it would for Luminous at Epcot. You could also say as well that they could do it at Hollywood Studios and give Hollywood Studios a nighttime show besides Fantasmic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I feel that makes the most sense at this point because Luminous and Happily Ever After are both very solid shows.
Yeah,
and I don't think Disney needs to change them anytime soon or add anything to them. But yeah, Hollywood Studios is definitely lacking.
I think the drone shows are coming, right? Like there's no way they don't announce a drone show. Like it's
so here's something. Okay, so let's go down a bit of a tangent here with this.
We're gonna run out of time for food, which is fine. But
well, we'll have time here. But okay. I'm sure you've seen. I think Damon actually put it in the group. Was so at Epic Universe they've been doing some testing of flying dragons. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did see it, and then I looked at all the blogs, and nobody's mentioning it. And it makes me think it's fake. But
well, but if they are, so let's assume that they're testing something similar to we thought that we were hoping for flying like when Galaxy's Edge opened up.
Yeah,
there was going to be like X-wings flying over it, but that ended up being a huge letdown because it was like it was a one-time thing and it was not done well at all. But
truthfully, this could be a one-time thing too. They could just do it at the opening and never do it again.
Yeah, and that was a thought too. As I was like, maybe it's just for the opening and you'll never see it again, which that would suck. But like you said, with the fact that drone shows and stuff are becoming more and more prevalent, maybe this is an opportunity for them to do something at Hollywood Studios in that same vein. Like maybe they can actually bring something with drones for, maybe part of the nighttime show that they do, a Star Wars nighttime show using drones.
Yeah.
Right. Like
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's happening. And there's also rumors of a new nighttime parade for Magic Kingdom, like a brand new one, or even a new daytime parade to replace Festival of Fantasy, because Festival of Fantasy is getting a little long in the tooth at this point, which it's still good. Don't get me wrong. It's still a parade that I, will watch and I'm still impressed by, but might be time for a new parade. So I'll be interested to see what kind of entertainment updates we get. I think drone show is definitely happening. I just think it depends on where and what kind of application. Because listen, the thing they're doing at Disney Springs right now was a test, right? For the bigger thing that they're going to do, which is something at one of the parks. Just don't know which one. I mean, I don't know, Trevor, if you ended up watching what they did at Comic-Con with the drones, but that was even cooler than anything I've seen at the parks. That was like over 1,500 drones. They had drones shooting smoke out. Like it was cool.
Yeah, there's definitely, like, outside of Disney, there have been some really impressive drone shows for sure. Yeah. Yes, the one at Comic-Con was cool, but internationally there's some even better than that. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, and Disney owns part of the company that's doing most of these drone shows all over the place. So, it wouldn't surprise me if they eventually just acquire the entire thing so they can have a monopoly on it like they do. But, so we're off topic though. So we
got one more park to talk about. So
we're not going to talk about Animal Kingdom?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We got
Hollywood. What about Hollywood Studios?
I thought we just talked about Hollywood Studios.
Well, there's a rumor out there that Hollywood Studios is going to be getting a new roller coaster. They're going to be getting the long rumored Monsters Inc. door coaster, which I always thought was just going to replace Rock and Roller Coaster. But the rumor out there is that they're going to build it as a whole new roller coaster over where Star Wars Launch Bay is.
Okay. That was actually going to answer my question around that, because I've said this before, is there's a lot of unused space at Hollywood Studios.
Absolutely.
So doing another indoor coaster in that, or I guess that space where Launch Bay is, but I feel it would have to expand out.
Oh, they would tear down those buildings. I don't think the building would stay. Yeah, that would be wholesale new. Yeah.
But the only thing I would say about that is that if you end up with a show building like the same size as like the Guardians building, the difference is the Guardians building is like off to the side and it's kind of hidden, like they
not really, but
yeah. Well, but they've been able to like not make it an eyesore within the park. Like it's there, but it's not disrupting anything. The problem with where Launch Bay is that they built another huge building like that. That is, right next to Toy Story Land, Galaxy's Edge, and near Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror. That just kills like any sight lines in that, like all those areas. Like it just becomes a big sore thumb throughout that whole area. Or like
I think they're more okay with the giant show buildings there than they are at Hollywood Studios at Epcot, right? Like they're okay with those there, but you're right. At Hollywood Studios, the sight lines I feel like are a little more important.
Yeah.
So to your
and like I said, just thinking about those areas, it's like I want to believe that there would be a coaster built there, but the space that you need to build like a big coaster, especially an indoor coaster, is like it's a lot of space.
Yeah,
and
there's a fair amount of backstage area available behind Launch Bay, though.
Yeah, so I mean, but then the thing about that, so then it would have to, but the backstage area though is still like Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge actually go behind that, though, right?
No, they don't. It's on the other side.
On the other side.
Yeah, because it's over by. So like. The back of Star Wars Launch Bay faces the back of, or the side of Rock and Roller Coaster. So,
okay.
Yeah. So like there's this space in between that you could build it, but yeah.
Yeah. I guess if it connected and then, if the building went even behind Rock and Roller Coaster, then fine. That would work. That's fair.
They'd have to get rid of like some backstage buildings, but they have no problem relocating backstage buildings. Like they do that all the time. So, yeah, I mean, that's the only rumor I've heard for Hollywood Studios. So, I mean, we'll see, right? But I always thought the door coaster was just going to replace Rock and Roller Coaster because obviously nobody under the age of 35 at this point knows who Aerosmith is. So, like at some point they're going to.
I mean, only because our parents or kids' parents are playing their music in the car, which I mean, I don't even
Or you saw Armageddon.
Yeah, I don't even listen to Aerosmith. Yeah, I mean, it really probably Armageddon. That
was like their last relevant song, right?
Yeah,
for the Armageddon soundtrack.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know how we got on Armageddon. So that's all I got for Hollywood Studios. But Animal Kingdom, I think we're going to hear a lot of news too, right? Because we've got the whole Dino Land, which is we're expecting to turn into the South America area complete with Indiana Jones. I saw somebody post that they've been removing trees around the dinosaur attraction, which is an indication they're getting ready to prepare that site to for teardown. So again, I don't believe anything I read on the internet ever. So I don't really know if that's true or not, but I think we're going to hear a lot of details about that. Hopefully we'll get some details about what the Encanto attraction is going to be. And then maybe we'll hear a little bit about what they're going to do with the Indiana Jones ride, because we've heard that it's going to be different than the one in Disneyland.
I know they so story-wise, I know they say it's going to be different. I honestly can't see, or maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, but I can see them just retheming the existing track to Indiana Jones, because to me that because they're doing so much other stuff in that area, it feels to me like they're not going to spend the money to completely rip out Dinosaur and redo it, because that's what that would mean, right? Is if it's going to be different, because the track is literally a mirror of Temple of the Forbidden Eye in Disneyland.
They can keep the same track though and tell a different story within it, though.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is they could absolutely do that. And I mean, to that end, like, there is a lot of potential, because like Temple of the Forbidden Eye has had some updates over the years, and like even lately they've done a lot of improvement to it. but it's still showing its age. And yeah, I feel like that there's, with everything that we've seen now with animatronics and everything, there could be they could do a really cool Indiana Jones experience. The only thing that I'm worried about is that it'll end up in the same space as Alien Encounter, where it's too scary. Because Indiana Jones is actually like scary if you really think about it. Like, I don't know about you, but when I was watching as a kid, like, I wasn't like
scary,
traumatized by it, but it definitely, like, there were some unsettling parts.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that that ends up being. I don't want a clone of Temple of the Forbidden Eye as much as I love it, and it is better than Dinosaur. But I agree, I don't want just a clone of it, because Disney has the potential to do a lot with it. What would actually be even funnier, so since we're on reckless speculation, is if it ended up just not being Indiana Jones at all. Like, that
would be funny, actually. Yeah.
I don't know what they would do, but it would just be funny if, everybody had it in their head that it was Indiana Jones, and then they're like, oh, this is
okay. But to be fair, though, they did play the Indiana Jones music when they referenced it the first time they showed it. So
yeah, but how many times have they done a 180 and changed their minds on this stuff, right?
It's a fair point. They could. I don't know. Maybe. Well, what about anything outside the parks, Trevor? Like, what are we thinking? Like, I mentioned a new resort. Do we get the long rumored Epcot entrance resort? Like, is that happening finally, or is that not going to happen right now?
I want to believe that it's still on the slate somewhere.
Yeah.
I really I really hope that I hope part of these announcements is that Disney starts thinking about hotels similar to California Adventure, where it's a deluxe resort, but it's connected to one of the parks.
Yeah, it's part of the park, basically. Like, you walk right into the park. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't have to be at Epcot. I'm going to hate myself for saying this. Even if they brought back the Star Cruiser as a different hotel, but made like a, connected, not like, don't do the Star Cruiser. Don't do like a, crazy expensive, like 2-day excursion. Make it a proper hotel and just have its connection into the park. Right.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. And sorry, I need to go back, just the Launch Bay thing. In my head, I was confusing Launch Bay with where was it? I was thinking it was further or closer to Pixar Place for some reason.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's why I was thinking that it was going to hit more like Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge. So I realized, like, I was looking at the map, and I see now what you're saying, that there is space behind it. So.
Yeah, there's some space behind it. We'll see. I mean, I've got a couple other random things too. I think Bluey is going to make its way into the parks. I think they're going to announce it at this event. Because Bluey is way too big right now, and there's no way that Disney's not going to do it. There's already been talks. I mean, there's rumors out there that Disney's already been talking about buying it outright, but also that they've already discussed putting Bluey into the parks. Why do you hope they don't? You feel like they would ruin it?
Okay, so all right, so I'm first of all,
soapbox time.
I'm going to say this because I have no reason to watch Bluey, but because of all the hype around it, we did watch a couple of episodes of it, and it's a really well-produced show.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. There's a lot of, like, even though I don't have young kids that, I had that, like, my son's way past the point of watching or caring about it. I just hope that show stays, like, that the people who are in charge of it creatively continue to stay in charge of it, because it is a gem of a show, honestly.
It is.
And if anybody wants to come for me about watching Bluey as an adult, I don't care.
Oh, no.
It's a good show.
Listen, there are a ton of adult Bluey fans that don't have kids. Like, that show, is all in a lot of ways geared towards adults too, because like there's a lot of really funny jokes in that show that kids will not get.
Yeah, the dynamic between the parents and the kids on that show is, and even like between like the parents, like there was an episode we watched with the mom's sister came, and like it was a very like serious topic that they were talking about. And yeah, like I'm not saying that Disney wouldn't do it justice, but I feel like they would try and over commercialize it versus letting it be as genuine as it is. And that's the only reason that I don't want Disney to buy it outright.
Unless they bought it and like had it continue operating on its own. You know what I mean? Like just let it do its thing. We own it now, but you do your thing. But I mean, I think it needs to make its way into the parks. I don't know where.
Agreed. Yeah.
Hollywood Studios maybe, but they need to do something Bluey in the parks. And I mean, we started watching Bluey during the pandemic, and it was hard to get Bluey merch, right? Like you were just buying knockoff stuff off of Amazon. Now Bluey is on everything. I bought my daughter a Bluey toothbrush the other day. It is everywhere. It has become so. I mean, I read that it's that. Oh gosh, what was they're saying? It's that property's worth over $1 billion now. Like it's crazy. So I'm going to predict that Bluey's going to show up in the parks. I've read that Disney's talked about it.
Maybe that'll be part of the Disneyland stuff.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So because
we didn't even touch on the Disneyland Forward stuff. I think there's going to be some Disneyland Forward announcements as well because they got that settled. Maybe Bluey's on the docket for getting an attraction or something.
Interesting.
That would be crazy. Yeah.
I just actually looked it up. Bluey is estimated to be worth $2 billion right now. Just Bluey, $2 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane. And then, but Disney has already talked to them about putting Bluey in the parks. They've talked about the theme park rights. Like these things are going on already. And I just think it's a matter of time. Like it has to happen eventually. And I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'm saying it's going to happen right now. I also want to say too, I don't think there's going to be a fifth gate. I've said this for many years now. I don't think Disney's going to build a fifth gate. I don't think it makes sense. I don't think they want to build a fifth gate. And I don't think that they feel the need to do it to compete with Epic Universe. I just don't think they're going to do it. I would be shocked if they did.
I mean, I feel like we're getting, at this point, we know of at least 2 lands. And I'm using air quotes because like we know of the stuff in Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom, but we don't know, we don't know what else they have planned because, they have committed a whole bunch of money over the next 10 years. I don't think it's going to be a fifth gate. I think it's just expanding on what they have. I agree with you. They don't need to, Universal needed another gate because they've only got 2 parks at the moment.
Yeah.
Disney doesn't need another gate.
Exactly. I mean, and Universal will always say, "Oh, we have 3 because we have Volcano Bay." Okay, well, let's play that game. Then Disney has 6. So of course, they need another park, right? Like that makes sense for Universal to do that. They absolutely should. But I just don't think Disney's going to do it. But again, to go back to Disneyland Forward, they kind of do need another park at Disneyland, right? Like they want to add more capacity to that park.
They've wanted to for years. Yeah,
absolutely. So that makes sense to me. That math is mathin'. The math, the math doesn't math for me in Disney World. It just doesn't. I mean, I know everybody wants it, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Like you said, I think we're going to see large scale expansions at the existing parks. I think that's going to continue happening. But I just don't see enough. And like I said, I also said that maybe we see a water park. I don't know. Maybe another water park gets built, but I don't know. I know everybody read the whole agreement they made with the district and that said, they could build a 5th park, but it didn't say they were going to. It just said they could,
So I'll tell you what, Tom, since I know you're going to be on a boat when all of this is happening.
You can text me.
If it does happen, I'm just going to text you 5th gate. All right. And I'll just leave it at that.
Text me 5th gate. That'd be funny. No, listen. And I fully expect us to be accountable to these predictions. I will take accountability for all the things I'm predicting today. So, So Bluey.
What does that mean? Taking accountability? Like,
I'll just admit that I was wrong. I mean, like we can go back. Well, yeah, go back through it and say all the things we got wrong. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that I'm like I said, I think Bluey's going to be a thing. I mean, maybe Bluey even gets its own land. I don't know. Like Bluey is so huge right now. I can't imagine that they don't do something.
If they just did like if they did it up like Cars Land, but did like the community that they live in.
Yeah.
That would actually that would be a great like Toontown.
Yeah.
Thing.
I'm even looking at like what Legoland did with Peppa Pig, right? Like they made like a land that's like a separate but still part of the park. Like they could put Bluey somewhere.
Okay, no, hear me out. All right. Okay, in Fantasyland, the Mickey's Toontown Fair, it's not a good, like I don't like it, but that's also it's not like, they've got like the Dumbo ride and everything there, and that's fine. But stop trying to make it Toontown, rip that out, make it Bluey Land. Yeah. Right.
Listen, I think if you put a Bluey Land in any of the parks right now, that a lot of people are going to be very happy, and that will drive people to the parks. Like 100%, that is a draw. If my daughter found out that that she could meet Bluey at Disney, she'd be asking when we're going. Like I'm telling you right now, like they would be stupid not to. Literally they would be stupid not to put Bluey in there. They have the relationship already. I mean, Disney Plus is pretty much solely responsible for making that show the number one show in the world. I mean, because as soon as it got on Disney Plus, then it blew up.
Yeah, I know. I remembered hearing about it. Like you heard about it, and then all of a sudden it was on Disney Plus, and it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I ignored it for a long time. And then it was just like, we kept, you'd see like little clips of it and stuff from time to time. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And so,
what is this?
Sat down and watched it. It's like, okay, I see why this show is getting the accolades that it is. Like
Bluey totally lives up to the hype. Bluey totally lives up to the hype. So yeah. So like I said, I think it's going to happen. Even if it's as small as a Bluey meet and greet somewhere in the parks, regardless, it's going to happen. I don't know where, but I just think it's going to happen. So I don't think we're going to get any new countries at Epcot, even though that was rumored a couple years ago. I don't think that's on the table. Nobody's even talking about that. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's all the things I can think of right now. I also don't think we're going to hear that they're expanding the Skyliner. Just don't think it's going to happen. So,
not this year. No,
not happening. No.
I don't think they need to touch on that this year.
No. So we had chocolate. We had chocolate. We had I pulled it up, and the first thing I saw was chocolate. So I said chocolate. We had Halloween eats on here, but I mean, we're pretty far in. I think maybe we should save this for the next.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Okay, I'll be honest. I love that they're advertising the upcoming Halloween stuff, but it is August.
It doesn't feel Halloween yet.
And yeah. I know Disney loves starting Halloween in August, but I'm not ready yet. So
yeah,
we can talk about it when you get back.
Yeah, let's talk about the Halloween food when we get back. We'll wrap this up. And I'll go on my cruise. So just so everybody knows, no show next week. Damon may release a Golden Button episode. I don't know. To be totally honest with you, I don't know.
That is entirely up to his schedule, if he can manage that. But yeah,
so he may put one out, but there will be no regular show until let's see, what date is that? The 19th. We'll have another show on the 19th.
Yeah.
So enjoy your August until I talk to you then. So let's wrap it up, Trevor.
All right. So as usual, if you want to talk about anything you heard us speculating about, or
talk about Bluey.
If you want to talk about Bluey, I mean, I guess we can talk about Bluey. I guess, Tom, you can talk about Bluey. I don't need to have an extensive conversation.
Talk about Bluey all day, Trevor, all day.
Yeah. So if you guys want to reach out to us about anything we did talk about on the show, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We do love hearing from you guys. And similarly, you can also find us on social media. On Facebook, we are Welcome Home Podcast. On YouTube, also Welcome Home Podcast. And on Instagram, Welcome Home Pics. Make sure on Facebook, if you're looking for a good Disney group, check out Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, where we have all of our listeners that there's great conversations about things that we talked about on the show. People post memes and all kinds of funny stuff. And then there's also great conversations where people talk about their own Disney trips, or, get advice from all of the great listeners that we have, because there are plenty of people that are far more experienced with Disney planning than we are. And, we've got a lot of them in our group. So, make sure you guys come and, join our group if you're looking for some good Disney discussion without all the drama. That's the one thing too. I will give credit to our group that we have not had to do any controlling of drama or anything like that, which I know happens in a lot of Disney groups out there, but we keep it pretty on track with being just about Disney stuff. So
absolutely.
Please come check us out. Also, if you want to help support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com. You can check out our different merch. We've got all the usual stuff, your shirts and mugs and fanny packs. Mention the fanny packs because sometimes you just need a good fanny pack. And so please check us out. It just helps us keep running the show, keeps the lights on. Similar, we also have a Patreon for the same reason. You can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod and check out our Patreon merch, which is we have an exclusive logo for Patreon. And anybody who supports us on Patreon gets access to the Discord server, which we've mentioned throughout the show is yet another place that, we have discussions about things that we talked about on the show and other random subjects as well. So, if you'd like to join a good Discord group, please check that out. And also, if you're listening to us on iTunes or Spotify, leave us a 5-star review because it just, we want to get to that 4.7 someday. But also, 5-star reviews are cool. It's, you should just do it. It's cool. And then also, write us a review on iTunes because we love hearing what you guys think about the show.
Yeah, so do that. That's important. But also, don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube Music, just about any podcast app out there you can find us. And if you're using a podcast app and you don't find us, let me know. I'll add us in. I'll get us on there. So, but I'm pretty sure we're on all of them. But just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company. And as such, all the opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult a Disney cast member or a DVC cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. Thank you so much, as always, to DVC Resale Market for sponsoring this episode and for World of DVC for continuing to be our supporters and our sponsor on this show. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit its hair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.